Hi everyone, I'm Virginia Killmore and welcome to my studio. Today is Fast Card Friday, which is the day that I usually show you a super quick card, and I picked this one because it's bright and springy and I think we need a little bit of fun to do. So let's get started. So isn't this a bright and springy card? I love how pretty it is, and I don't know if you can see there's Wink of Stella on here. I'm using a tip that I shared on Tuesday of how to use blender pens, so if you want to check that out, it's very quick, but I will cover part of it in here anyways. So to get started with this card, we are going to need an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock that's been scored, and then I'm going to go ahead and put my crumb cake right on there. I'll let that sort of dry while we are working on the rest of the card. I like to use my bone folder, and I of course can't find it right now. It's probably right here, but that's fine. I will use that. Sometimes I have to use my fingers. So this is going to get connected to that, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp on here first. And I always like to do the sentiment first because that's the part that I usually get crooked. And then I get to use my emergency side of the paper, which I love. The emergency side of the paper is this side. So let's see if I can get that on straight without any raspberries. Yay! I got lucky. So now what I'm going to do is stamp some flowers on here, and I want to do that quickly because when you use the blender pen, you want to work with it right after you've stamped so that you can color in. You're going to use some of the color that's there. So I'm going to ink up my stamp, and I am using Dragonfly Garden today. I just think that's so pretty. And I'm not stamping the whole thing, I'm just stamping parts of it. Make that one a little taller, this one a little shorter, and that one even shorter. Okay, and now I can take my blender pen out and just quickly move it across here. And you see how I'm picking up color? Because I'm actually, the ink is still a little wet, and I can do that. Now, if you've never used a blender pen, there's several ways that you can use it. And on Tuesday on Instagram, I showed you at least 2 different ways that you can use it. I'm going ahead and coloring all of these little flowers down here as well. Now, I'm going to put a little accent on the center of the flowers. And it'll show you sort of how you can go very quickly from one color to the other by using a piece of paper to clean your brush. You have to really clean it. So I keep rotating it until I only see clear ink. And then I can take my Bumblebee, and I've already put a little bit of color in here. I can pick some up. And when I go to put it in, I don't want to rub it too much because even though it's dry, or more dry than it was a few minutes ago, if I rub too hard, it's going to turn an ugly brown real quick. So I'm just very quickly putting a tiny touch of color in each one of those and not going back and forth too much. See how fast? Now I probably could color the leaves, but I am not going to. But before I do put it away, I always like to take all the color out. So you see how I keep going until it's clear, and I have to keep rotating it because a lot of that color, when you pick up color like that, you're actually, it gets right into the pen. Now I find that a pen that sits for a while will usually turn back to just white. I'm still seeing a little yellow, but that looks pretty good. So now I'm done with all my stamping. I just need to put my card together. Oh, actually I forgot, I need to do this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with the Blackberry Bliss. We're using Blackberry Bliss and Bumblebee, if I haven't already said that. I'm having a little trouble remembering what I say. Okay, so I'm going to do something different with this. And I don't think I showed this on Tuesday, so this is kind of fun. I'm taking my Wink of Stella. I shook it up before I started and squoze out a little bit. And I'm going to use that to create my wings. Same thing with this. I'm going to need to clean this before I put it away, or else I'm going to have this Blackberry Bliss on here next time I use it. And I'm just going to do the body a little bit, and then just take and clean that off. That's good. So that's another way to use the, not blender pen, but the Wink of Stella. And now I'm going to take my punch, my Dragonfly punch that out. And my card is almost done. Okay. So I just need to put my ribbon on, and I decided that this ribbon looked better going vertical like this. So I am going to take a little piece of it and go ahead and tie it off. I show this to you guys all the time. You must get sick of it, but a lot of you mentioned that you like to see the stuff. Usually I like to use my Bow Easy, but today I am using this little method. You get the same bang for your buck as you do for a bow, but it's a little bit simpler and you use less ribbon. And if you're like me, you're a ribbon hoarder. You have so much ribbon, but I love my ribbon. So I'm going to put it like this, and I really cut it close, but it's still going to fit. So I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal on the back side here, really close to the edge, because I really cut it close. Oh, I'm fine. But I am going to move it over a little bit. I think it needs to be more over here. So I'm going to pick it up, pull it off, and put it back on, and I can pull it a little bit. Okay? Now, when I put this piece on it, it is very close to the size, so I want to really be careful to line it up carefully. And it's the reason why I like glue, is I have a few extra seconds to make sure everything lines up. I don't think I did as good a job on the first card as I'm doing on this one. And now I'm going to use some dimensionals on the back side. Now, I like to use up all my little pieces on the edges first. I just use them up. They're so nice to use for corners and such. So I'm going to take those off first. The problem with dimensionals is once you put them down, you're sort of stuck. And I have a tendency to not watch carefully. So I got to watch that. I'm going to put a regular dimensional over here. So I'm going to pull these off with my Take Your Pick tool. Just makes it easier, and they all go to the trash all at once, which I love. You know how you always have them all over your desk, but you don't have to deal with that. So first thing I always like to do is make sure I have it on correctly, and then I'm going to line it up the best I can. Okay, so what's left to do is to put my little dragonfly on there, and I think I'm going to put them way out on the wings so that he can, oh look, it was stamped on there before on the back side. I didn't even see that. I thought it was just a scrap piece of paper. There. So there you have it. This is a super quick card using a blender pen to make the technique. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.